the Robin Hood trip. I remember the days of being very, very poor, scrounging wood to make stretcher frames and ripping the canvas off other people's paintings because they were slime ball paintings, and using it for ours. I lived upstairs. Downstairs was an awning store, and across the street the Eldridge Hotel. I'm talking about 1961, 62, 63, right in there. In the years prior to 1963, America's poverty rate was up 32.2%, and by 1963 it was still well above 20% of the total U.S. population. Anyway, back in the old days there were many poor families and poor drunks that lived in that area. One day there was a knock at the door, and in came a madman carrying a .22. He said, "Let me come in. I gotta come in." He ran to the kitchen, threw open the window, and started firing. Bang, bang, bang. And he leaped out the window onto the roof and came back with a batch of pigeons. He said, "I gotta cook these pigeons. I'll teach you how to make scrapple." Okay, fine. He ripped the pigeons apart and did some kind of thing in a frying pan and made scrapple. I don't want to get into the recipe. It's disgusting, but we lived off it for a while. We'd have him come up periodically to shoot pigeons. He got to trust us and gave us access to a whole set of really poor, elderly people. They were totally screwed because back then there were no food stamps, no Meals on Wheels, nothing. By 1960, the poverty rate of those 65 years and older was at 35%, almost twice that of the non-elderly rate. Not till the social programs instituted in the 65 did the elderly poverty rate begin to sharply decline. So we got inspired. We worked out a wonderful Robin Hood trip where we stole from the rich and gave to the poor. In those days, within a few blocks of my place was the old Stokely Van Camp pork and beans factory, and next to it, their warehouse. That warehouse is now the Social and Rehabilitation Services office. Get the irony? It's where people now go to get their food stamps. It's amazing because that's the place we used to knock over to get food to feed poor people. I mean, we built that vibe. In 1962, Michael Harrington, a writer and activist, published The Other America, Poverty in the United States. This book was read by both JFK and LBJ, and it helped to inspire the war on poverty, as stated in LBJ's 1964 State of the Union. Anyway, my friend and I would get up about 1 o'clock in the morning, knew that about 3 o'clock the cop patrol was down for a shift change. Top of the pork and beans buildings were skylights, wide open. My friend and I would use the fire escape to get to the roof. We had no car, no ropes or ladders or any of that sophisticated stuff that I now use in my everyday break-ins. We just dropped in from the skylight. It was about 10 or 15 feet. We just dropped and rolled, walked around like cripples for a while, and picked up these wood and cardboard cases filled with number 7 cans of ping pong and Pai Li. Then I'd grab one of these crates, my friend would grab one, and we'd hustle nervously down the street about 4 blocks in the middle of the night with crates of ping pong and Pai Li. Run up the stairs and pile them in the apartment, and go back for more. We did this about once a week. All the old poor crippled from the neighborhood would come by, and we'd hand out these cans of ping pong Pai Li. All the old people were swimming and spinning and embalming in Pai Li. They loved it. We loved it too. We were Robin Hoods, and we loved giving the stuff away. The relationship between poverty and crime can be tenuous in its connection on paper, but studies show that at times of an increased poverty, the levels of crime, especially violent one, rise beside it.